Hey there, everyone. It's Aaron Hughes from Food Dog Group, and I have been talking about productivity and time management, motivation, goal setting, efficiency, and that type of thing. And what I want to talk about today does overlap with those topics, but it's actually a much bigger topic, and it's been part of my own journey for uh, several years now. I would say almost a decade, maybe a little bit less, maybe 7 or 8 years. And it does kind of really play into productivity and time management, but it's actually so much bigger, and it has to do with like personal growth and who you are as a person. So I find it actually a really inspiring topic to talk about. And I love talking about productivity and time management, but I also love talking about this, what I'm about to talk about now. So when you were thinking about what do you want for yourself in, like, say 5 years from now? What do you want for yourself in the future? When you ask yourself that question, what comes to mind? A lot of people answer the questions with things like, now this may not be you, but this is what a lot of people would answer, things like, I want to have more money in my bank account, or I want to have a great relationship, or I want to lose weight, or, any number of things. But I think like wealth, relationships, health, like those are kind of like the big ones that we all want to have something in those realms. And so as you think about those, like health, wealth, relationships, or whatever, maybe you answered something else perhaps. As you think about that, what you want for those in the next few years, I'm going to bet that many people answering those questions, answering the question of what do you want, answered with words like you want to do something or you want to have something. So, for example, I want to lose weight is the one example I mentioned, or I want to have a lot of money in my bank account or have a great relationship. I want to challenge you to think in a different way. Instead of focusing on what you want to do or what you want to have, I want to challenge you to think instead about who do you need to be in the future? Who do you want to be? So instead of thinking, just to use my three examples already, instead of thinking I want to have a bunch of money in my bank account, think instead I want to be a wealthy person. Instead of thinking I want to have a great relationship, think I want to be an amazing spouse. Instead of thinking you want to lose weight or release weight, instead think, I want to be a healthy person, or I want to be athletic, or however you might define that. And it might seem to some people like a subtle shift. Like, what's the difference? I think there's a big difference. For example, someone who just wants to have a bunch of money in their bank account is really focused on that dollar amount. But someone who wants to be wealthy is considering other factors, and maybe they're considering things like cash flow or insurance or like wills and estates or risk mitigation. Like they're thinking of the bigger picture. Same with the person who wants to lose weight versus be healthy. Those are two very different types of mindsets. The lose weight person is really focused on a number. The person who wants to be healthy now is bringing in things like, am I eating the right balanced food? Am I having good activity in my life? What about my inner age? My the makeup of my blood. Do I have all like the right chemicals in the right balance that will keep me healthy? So you can see here in the couple examples I've given that doing or having has a real limiting effect versus being has a much bigger effect that, in my opinion, creates a better result. Just like that, the person who wanted to have a bunch of money in their bank account had a real limited results that they were going for, versus the person who wanted to be wealthy had a much more abundant and, in my opinion, safer and more financially secure vision for the future. And then once you have that flip from do or have to be, then it becomes about reverse engineering the bigger picture into actions that you can take. And I think that when you are looking at the more inspiring who do I want to be, it becomes much more fun and less of a task, less of a chore to do those things. So the person who has to lose weight is like, oh, what do I have to give up? I have to go on a diet. but I really want some candy right now. Versus the person who is inspired to be an athlete is thinking very differently about their choices day to day. Like they're sure they might still want some candy. Who doesn't? But they're also saying, okay, but an athlete, would an athlete have this much candy? No, an athlete might have like a little bit of a treat candy after working out or something. I'm kind of making this up as I go, but I think you see what I am saying here. And for me, this has been a huge, huge shift. And that's why I'm sharing it today, because it was such a fundamental shift for me that I wanted different things in my life, in my business that I was running before I started Food Dog Group. I wanted how I wanted to travel, how I wanted to live in the world, all these different things, and they were all like do or have, and that was okay. But when I discovered the power of thinking, who do I want to be 5 years from now, or who do I want to be a year from now, that changed all the activities that I was doing today. And I actually was able to achieve far more than I was dreaming when I was only thinking of do and have. So think about what you want for yourself in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. And then ask yourself, who do I need to be in order to achieve that? And step into that new identity, that new role, that new you. And I think you'll find a more exciting future than you are even imagining right now. I'd love to know your thoughts about that. I think that's a different framing for people. So post in the chat below if you agree, if you have questions, if you have thoughts, if you've done this yourself, and what the result was. I'll be watching for your comments.